Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to talk a little bit about New Year's Eve and how we traditionally spend it in Germany and how that differs to how people spend it in Japan. And also, as a third part of the video, basically, I want to tell you what happened this year in Germany. I read German newspapers and I want to sum it up as best as I can so you don't have to. Or maybe it's hard to get this information when you are not able to read German. Okay, here we go. So, normally in Germany, New Year's Eve is not a big family gathering kind of a holiday. That is what we do at Christmas. At Christmas, the whole family comes together, and for several days, you stay together and you eat or you go to church. Not many people do that anymore, but there are traditional foods. On New Year's Eve, that is not so much the case. That is more freestyle. So people celebrate with their friends, especially young people. They might go clubbing or they have private parties in their apartments, or they celebrate together in the park if the weather allows for it, or you go to a pub in the city or something along those lines. And what also is important to mention maybe is that fireworks or certain small fireworks are actually perfectly legal in Germany, and people set them off privately in order to celebrate the new year. And normally that happens without major incidents, and disciplined German people know normally what they can do and what is allowed, and that you don't throw it at people, for example, and you don't harm others or other people's property. All right. In Japan, in contrast, Christmas, I said, is not really a holiday in Japan. Of course, it's not a Christian country, but the New Year is rather important. The first 3 days until January 3rd are referred to as Shogatsu, and that basically means, or what you do at that time is you visit family members, you have your first visit to a shrine, for example, and you eat traditional foods. And that is normally ozoni and osechi, so a traditional soup with a locally varying stock, and then some small cold dishes that you can also bring to relatives' houses, for example. Maybe I make a dedicated video about that in the future if people are interested in that, and show some pictures maybe, because I think this tradition is quite impressive. So in Japan, fireworks have a very long tradition, but people do not set them off independently, but it is more family companies, basically. So small family-owned companies, pyro masters, basically, who have a long family tradition of manufacturing fireworks for celebrations, like in summer. Hanabi comes to mind, summer fireworks, and of course in major cities there is also a firework for New Year's Eve, I guess, but that's not really the main thing. Around Japan, in Buddhist temples, the bells are rung, and this is also then broadcasted on television, for example. So New Year's Eve, not such a big excessive party. It is more a quiet family holiday, actually. All right, so it couldn't be much more different, actually. And now let's turn towards the latter part of the video, which means what happened this year in Germany once again. You know that there have been incidents in recent years, and also this year was no exception, but there is a new trend emerging, let's say. Not so new, but maybe for New Year's in this severity, I haven't heard of it yet. So, especially in major cities that are of a rather left-leaning persuasion, I should say, or parts of these cities actually, there have been major incidents. For example, in Leipzig, which is in Saxony, where very, as you know, a rather conservative state of Germany, but nevertheless there is a part of Leipzig called Konnewitz, and that is actually a hotbed of left-winged activists. The word activist is not that great actually. I think it's safe to call them criminals at this point. So what happened is that they attacked police officers and then attacked them so violently that now one almost died actually. They pulled the helmet off of this young man, a 38-year-old police officer it was. Many more were injured, but this one was injured very severely, and there are investigations about attempted murder now even. So these left-winged lunatics, they specifically target officers of the state in Saxony because the police in Saxony is said to be more on the conservative side, and that is of course what these lefties and Angela Merkel and her ilk, they don't like that. So they send their operatives to attack them, and police speakers have said that this was clearly a planned and coordinated attack on police officers this year. In Berlin, it was more colorful, as you can imagine. So in addition to left-winged lunatics, in Berlin you have more, let's say, a colorful crowd of people from all over the world who did pretty much a similar thing. They go to the streets together in gangs and they target indigenous Germans and also officers of the state, firefighters, medics, all those people. So especially the people who want to help actually, police, firefighters, medics, as I said, they are being targeted. And it is very territorial behavior that they show. They say you're not allowed to enter our hood basically, or our part of town. This is not Germany anymore, this is our country now, or our territory. You cannot enter here. And it is interesting to look at the responses or the reactions from certain politicians, and without exception here it is left-winged German women. For example, the head of the Social Democrat Party, Mrs. Esken, Saskia Esken is her name, I think. She also sees the wrongdoing here, or the fault with the police. They shouldn't have entered these areas in the first place out of respect or something. She said something along these lines, and then a politician of the left-leaning party, or the Communist Party, Die Linke, the left, her name, if I recall correctly, was Juliane Nagel, and she basically said that this was police brutality and a provocation. They shouldn't have gone there, and why are they going into these areas in the first place? Well, you must know that based on prior experience, we know that in these parts of town there are always crimes being committed. There are vehicles that are damaged or even destroyed, private homes of people are attacked, and families are attacked by these vicious criminals. So the police has every reason to be there and protect the German population from these vile criminals. And then also the Green Party cannot be missing in this orchestra of lies. The Green Party basically also says in the you must know that I made a video about this. In the state of Saxony, the AfD had a very good result, but of course the other parties band together. So now the recently appointed minister or secretary of Justizminister, that is basically secretary of the courts and law, the judiciary, I think. She is called Katja Mayer, I think, and yeah, she is an old Antifa punk girly. Yeah, now no girly anymore, a little bit aging, but yeah, she also clearly said that the police was at fault here, and that the people who are committing attacks and commit crimes have every right to do so, and the police and the Germans should just shut up. That is the situation as of now. All are women, all are left-leaning, and all are basically, yeah, none of them is actually feeling any regret or something, or any, they have no bad feelings about what happened to this young police officer. They don't care that people's property, people's houses, people's cars, and also their children and family members are attacked. They don't care about that. All they care is bad-mouthing our police. And of course, a lot of other things happened. There were actually people who were actually killed, yeah, and young gangs of colorful people from all over the world, yeah, with their great diversity, yeah, use blades and knives and every yeah, instrument at their disposal to seek out targets in the middle of the night in German cities and end the lives of ethnic Germans. This is what they do. And when the police interferes, they are the bad guys. All right, so now you know what happened. Many casualties, many wounded people, some dead people, and all this happened, of course, in the new year or at New Year's Eve. And this is becoming the new normal, and the media is now full of articles about the false behavior or wrong behavior of the police. Yeah? So just think about that for a moment. This is the new standard, the new normal in Germany. And I don't know about you, but if you, for example, have children, or if you have loved ones that are out celebrating or meeting friends or going to meet their families, they are at risk to be the next victims in Germany, of course. And we are just supposed to shut up and do nothing about it. All right. So that is basically what I wanted to say. And if you are not from Germany, if you don't speak German, you might not have heard about this, but this is the situation. This is the new normal around New Year's and every other major event, actually. And soon in February we will celebrate Carnival again, and it will be the same thing again. Carnival, an old pagan festival, and routinely now we see attacks of non-German or people from faraway countries who claim to be seeking shelter here in Germany. They are attacking indigenous Germans when they practice their own culture. But New Year's Eve is, of course, a prime example or a very good opportunity for these criminals, because people are celebrating outside with fireworks and it's loud and people are drinking. So it's easy, I guess, to just do what they want to do anyway. All right, that's it from my side for this time. I'm still here in Japan, enjoying peace, quiet, and public order, and these birds who don't have to fear to be the next victim of a violent crime. They can just enjoy the sunshine and the clean water here in Japan, and I can also do that for a little longer. Servus, Kameraden.